This conference will now be recorded.
So we'll see some examples also how Docker files works. Yeah, log into your Putty session. So guys, what is Docker file means? So Docker file is a way to create your own customized image. Like let's assume that we do have different teams. I do have like a Sushmita. Sushmita is from one team, and Praveen is from one team. Shubham is from one team. Just assume that. You may have number of applications in your project. You want to build a container with that application and all. So in that case, what you would do? So first Sushmita will give all the instructions. What kind of container she wants to build. Okay. So she needs a CentOS machine. She needs a Git. She needs Java. She needs some folders. She will give some files to me, and she wants to place those files into my container. She wants to expose some ports. She wants to map some volumes, something like that. All the like instructions she will give to her, give it to me. I'm the DevOps admin. Okay. Now I can create directly container, the CentOS container, and on top of it, I can do all my stuff and all. So but why I'm sure? So I'm going with Docker file. Why I'm going with my customized image? Why I'm not creating container directly? Why? Because customized images are can be used as backup purpose. Let's assume that like I'm doing just I created one container. If I do like everything configuration and all, by mistakenly you deleted that container. By mistakenly something corrupted in that container. Again, I have to do all those stuff if you don't have backup. Because obviously, as I told you, we do have two types of storage. One is default storage. One more is additional Docker volume. Obviously, OS related and application related configuration, everything will be saved into my default storage only. If at all your Docker container stopped or deleted or maybe corrupted, what will happen? So all your default storage gone. Only the Docker volume storage will be available. But there we don't place our configuration files and all generally. That's only application data. So to avoid those situations, if I have a backup, okay, so with to if I have a customized image, whatever the instructions I'm doing in my container, if I have a backup, so I can recreate my container at any point of time, later point of time, if at all required. So the first one is backup purpose. And the second purpose, let's assume that Sushmita wants to build the same container with same application, same maybe instructions, everything in multiple Docker hosts. Not in she has development environment, she has QA, she has production, she has UAT. So this many environments she wants to build the same container, so with same instructions. In that case also, what I can do? Simply I can build a Docker file. I can give all the instructions. I can create an image, and I can push that image into my Docker Hub. From everywhere I'll pull it, and simply I'll create it. So I no need to do individually on each and every system, right? With from scratch. So you're able to save your time if you have a customized image. So that is the purpose we are going with a Docker file. You can create with some other way also, that is Docker commit message. Already we have seen in the first class. So maybe in late previous classes, right? Now, in the same way Docker file. So maybe let's assume that Sushmita has one application. She need one container. Again, Shravani, she needs one more container with some other application. Now Pradeep came to me. Pradeep also needs again one more application, one more server, one more operating system, one more container. So what I would do, I have to create 3 Docker files for them. Maybe as many as how many applications, how many containers you want to build. So that many Docker files I have to first. So let's assume that Sushmita wants to create one image with a CentOS, some Git, Java, .NET, whatever she needs. So I'll create a folder called on top of Sushmita name, maybe that application name. So I will go there into that folder. I'll create a Docker file. In the same way, Shravani. So Shravani application. With that Shravani application, I'll create one more directory. I'll go inside the directory. I'll create Docker file again. Like that, how many Docker files you need? That many. Like again, in the same directory, I cannot create Docker files, right? Multiple Docker files with the same name. Is it possible? Nowhere it is not possible. That's the reason I'm creating subfolders. So first choose one directory, any directory, your wish. Where are you exactly? Can you do PWD? Yeah. So choose one directory and create some folder name. Anything, maybe like you want to go with here itself? Yeah. So CD Jenkins. So what is that folder? You created in last class yet? But I think you in last class you created. Already we have seen how to create Docker file. We have some set of parameters based on your requirement, based on Sushmita instructions. You have to use different parameters. Now let's see some example. Can you go to Google and just type Docker file examples in GitHub? We'll see those examples now. So you'll get more exposure onto the things. I think in last class I showed WinSCP, right? How to upload and download files, right, guys?
Yes.
Okay, so I hope everybody knows what is WinSCP now. Now let's assume that Sushmita given one file to me over the email. So I'll download that file into my laptop and I'll upload that file into my Linux box, into my Docker host with the help of WinSCP. So choose your own directory, your wish, any directory. So can you write down the parameters? Maybe can you open a notepad and let's see what are the parameters we have seen till now. We'll discuss the most important parameters. In Docker file, what are the parameters we do have, guys? We have seen till now. From, make it in line by line. From, next, maintainer. No need to write numbers. Simply just write from. Capital letters. Next, maintainer. Yeah, run. Maintainer. Okay. Next, copy. Next, add. Expose. Volume. CMD. Entry point. User. So network.
So we are getting disturbed.
Oh, just a minute. Let me switch off my cooler. Just a minute. So is that fine now? I'm
Air
sorry.
sound
Is
is
it fine?
increasing. Air sound little bit is coming.
Oh, still it's coming.
Now it's fine.
Okay, good. Yeah, network. So guys, these are the commonly used parameters inside Docker file. Let's write one by one. The first one, from to use the base image. Write it down in the same line. Already you written from, right? In the same line. Why again one more line? It is used to provide a base image. So to take the base image, from which base image you want to build a container? So like definitely base OS base image should be there, right? That is what from command. Now run any Linux commands on top of the base image. You'll use run image, run parameter. To run any Linux command on top of base image, you will use run. Okay, next maintainer. Maintainer. So maintainer is to provide some maybe kind of a version to your Docker file, or maybe your admin details, just description about your Docker file, or maybe admin details about your Docker file, author details, something like that. Okay, to provide, you can maintain. It's not mandatory actually. Maintainer is just an information. You can provide your email address, something like that in Docker file. Okay, next, copy. Copy. To copy the files from Docker host to, so if I run a Docker build command, what will happen? So it will try to copy the source file into Docker image, to copy the files from Docker host to Docker container. The source file should be available in Docker host. Maybe within the bracket, make it to copy the files from Docker host to Docker container. Hmm. Maybe make it as image, not container. Yeah, before Docker host to Docker container instead of container, because we are building an image, right? Not container. Hmm. Okay, source file should be available in Docker host. Source file should be available in Docker host. Copy paste the same thing in next line also. Add is also similar. Hmm. Copy the same description. But what is the difference between copy and add means? So guys, add is advanced when compared to copy. Kind of like you can copy the files from even like a URL also. Directly you can provide add space URL space that destination folder. So whatever the web contents, you'll use wget, right? Generally, guys, did you remember what is wget? So if you give wget
Yes, sir.
space URL name, it will download that content into your Linux box, right? In the same way, instead of downloading and copying it, okay, directly I can use add that URL space the destination folder in image. So maybe write down one more notes to that add, one more bracket. Now here remove the source file should be available in Docker host, because source file can be, write down, source file can be from Docker host or from any URL. Directly that URL also you can give, no need to download and copy. Source file can be from Docker host or from any URL. Add a space that URL, which file you want to download. Maybe generally we would get RPMs, something like from URL, right? That URL. Yeah, space destination. Destination in the image. Destination folder. Okay, next. So expose. So basically, what is expose means? I think someone asked this question. Maybe internally, how can I expose the ports from one container to another container? Who asked that question? I told how to map the ports outside. That time someone asked me how to expose the ports internally from one container to another container. Who asked that question? I don't know. I didn't remember the name, but someone asked me. This is that option. So to expose the ports to another containers. Write down. To expose the ports to another. Let's assume that I have a application container and database container. Okay. So obviously, so customers will connect to application server, right? Application server should connect to database server. So here, let's assume that I'm building a application container. So in application container, and I'm building one more database container. So database container should open the port, right, to access from application. So that is what this port. Now next, volume. To map the volume to my container, my image. So what will happen if I use volume parameter in Docker file? Okay, so in the image that volume configuration will be saved, and whenever someone build a container with that image, what will happen? A volume will be created in your Docker host by default, and that will be mapped with your container. That is what this option. Okay, next CMD. I think last class I told already. What is CMD, guys? Command
Docker
CMD
images
entry point. I'm sorry.
for, Docker images.
Your voice is breaking. Your answer is not clear.
Okay, so you
What?
continue, sir, not you.
Okay, no problem. So CMD and entry point both are same. Okay, here what will happen means if I use CMD or entry point, I can give some instructions to my image. Please start this command at runtime, at creation of my uh, container. That is what CMD or entry point. If I give CMD or entry point in my Docker file and with some instructions, that command will be executed at container creation automatically. So why should I use CMD or entry point means? Let's assume that I want to I'm building my container, my image for HTTPD, maybe for Jenkins, maybe for Tomcat. So if I give CMD prompt at the end in the Docker file with to start my Docker application, sorry, to start my Jenkins application or the respective application. So automatically when I create a container, just a minute. Yeah, sorry guys, I'm back. Okay, so what will happen when I use CMD or entry point means, so that particular command, whatever the command you are giving in CMD prompt will be executed at container creation time. I will show you one example. Can you go back to your putty session? Hello? Yeah. Here let's do one thing. Let's build an image. Okay, no need to write a Docker file. So can you build this command docker run? Do one thing. So go back to browser, Docker Hub, and just search for Jenkins application. So Jenkins image. Okay, so open that Jenkins image and come down slowly, slowly. Wait. Can you run that first command? First command. Here, what I am doing, I am taking the Jenkins image. Okay, I am building a container. Start this command, run this command in your putty session. Yeah, I created a container. Use -dat also. Just do control. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. No need to. So have you did control C? No, right? See here, you can see that actually, did I started my Jenkins application, guys? Did I started Jenkins application manually
No.
by logging into the container? See, by default, the Jenkins application is started. Here, actually, in a command, you haven't given -dat. So you haven't said -d and -it, right? So D is for detached mode, IT means terminal. So that's the reason the backend process is showing in the front end. The application started, even if you give -dat also, the application will start, but it won't show you, it won't be visible to you. Now, because you did not run -dat in the command line, so it's showing in the front end itself. See, application is started. So this is the advantage of CMD. Actually, he created this the image, Jenkins image, with the help of Docker file only. In that Docker file, he did that CMD or entry point. That is the reason you are able to start your application without any instruction. You haven't started it actually. Anyway, I have to start it. I have to start it. So that's the reason they made it CMD. It's up to you. While creating the Docker image, you want to auto start your service automatically. I don't want to log into my container again, start the application manually. So in such a situation, I'll give CMDR entry point command. So guys, did you understand what is CMD and entry point will do? Every time. So even now Stravani build one more container with the same image in her putty session, in her Docker host. That time also, again the CMD preemptive will be executed, or entry point will be executed. Whatever the instructions you give with the CMD, right? That command will be executed. Even if you stop and start also, this CMD prompt will be executed again. If you stop your Docker container, whatever the container you built just now, right? If you stop it and start it also, again the CMD prompt will be executed. So at creation and at start time of your container, this CMD prompt will be executed. So it's up to you. If you want to start your application automatically, then you have to give CMD prompt. Otherwise, not required. But the best practice is provide CMD or entry point. Okay. Now, what is the difference? So you can use in number of ways. The one of the thing is like, so I'll give you a small example. What is the difference between CMD and entry point? Just do Control C. So guys, did you understand what is CMD or entry point? Please let me know if you have any clarity, if you need any clarity still. Hello guys, is it clear what is CMD? What is entry point?
One more time, you.
Okay, definitely. So let me ask you one question. So is it Shravani?
Yes, yes.
Okay, okay. Let's assume that you have one Linux box. I'm not talking about Docker now. I'm talking about general Linux box, your EC2 instance. Okay, on top of it, you install Jenkins application. Okay, so I rebooted my system. So I started my application, systemctl start Jenkins. What that command will do, Shavani?
It will start Jenkins.
Yes. So somehow my Linux box got rebooted. Okay. So then does that Jenkins application will come up?
No, it will not come up.
It won't come up until unless you start it. Right?
Ye-
Anyway, you have to start it. Why I have to do it? Make it manually. So if I do systemctl enable then Jenkins, what it will do? Even if you reboot your system, also it will come up automatically. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
The same concept in Docker container also. Because in Docker container, remember one thing, guys. Systemctl command won't work out. You cannot start your service with the help of systemctl. You have to find out what is the command to start your application, and you have to run that command manually. Again, why should I run it manually? If I place it while creating Docker file under CMD prompt, it will start automatically. That is the usage of CMD. Now, are you clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Same. Systemctl enable your application name and CMD prompt in Docker file will do the same step. Whenever you restart your container, whenever you create your container, at boot time, the process, the command, the application will come up automatically. That is what CMD or entry point. Now I showed you clearly. Can you run, just use up arrow? Here in this command, actually I did not use -dit option. That's the reason the process. So can you do -dit option? It won't show. Actually, that time also it will run, but it will run in the back end. If you don't use -dit, it will show that process in front end. That is the difference. Attached mode, detached mode. Enter. So now also that process, whatever the Jenkins application, they created in Docker file with the help of that CMD or entry point. That's the reason it started. Now directly if you open a Docker host port in the AWS console and you can access your Jenkins application. You no need to start it manually again. That is the purpose of CMD. Now let's see one example, like difference between the entry point in CMD prompt. So guys, this is a just commonly common interview question in most of the times in Jenkins in Docker. Okay, what is the difference between CMD and entry point, and what is the difference between add and copy? These two are minimum questions in Docker. And how many types of networks we do have in Docker? That is also one more question. So how to check, guys? How many networks I do have? Types, network types. Bridge, host, none. With Docker network LS, I can see that. So these three are the commonly used questions, asked questions in Docker. Okay, so now go ahead. So Oh, can you open a Docker file? Where are you? So in Jenkins file, I think you have already Docker file. Open a Docker file, va space Docker file. So D caps always. Okay. Here, let's assume that I don't want to mess up this image already. Whatever the Docker file I have, I don't want to corrupt it. Simple. What I have to do? Again, come out. So just don't disturb with this Docker file. Go to some other folder. There again create Docker file. Come out, come out. In the same file folder, you cannot create one more Docker file, right? Come out one directory, create one more directory, mkdir, maybe some httpd.
Hello, Amar.
You want to? Yes,
Yeah, this is Gnani.
yes, Nani, tell me.
Yeah, I have a doubt. Like in Dockerfile, we are providing set of parameters, right?
Yes,
If one of the parameter we provided wrongly, or it doesn't meet the requirement, whether remaining commands will be failed or it will be installed.
yes, it will be in order. Let's
Okay.
assume that the second command is wrong. Okay, so actually I made it wrongly, the syntax. Definitely it will fail at second command itself. The remaining won't be triggered.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Thank
I'll show one example. vi space docker file now. Vi docker file. Enter. Insert mode from CentOS. From CentOS, second command. Run yum install httpd. Actually, when you run yum install on any application, don't give -y. We'll see that. So guys, when you run yum install and some application, it will expect yes or no option, right? So here I'm not giving any yes or no option. Okay, maybe by mistake or I forgot that. Now run yum install java -y. It won't take the third option because the second step itself it will fail, right? It won't go to the third, fourth, fifth. Now save this file. So in the second step, actually you have to give -y also here in the command line. Docker build space dot name, anyway I showed in last class, right, how to name it. So you have to use the syntax actually, that -t and all. Right now just give docker build space dot. So the image will be created but without any name. You can name it later. Enter. See, it's failed. It won't go to the third command. Got it now, Danny?
you. Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So open the file and again use -y now. And also let's add cmd prompt. Let's remove second and third line. So we'll make it simple. Remove the second and third line. So I'll give you a simple example. Can you give echo space hi command? Echo, sorry, first run command. Run, sorry, cmd. cmd echo space hi. Yeah. Here, so what I am giving, just example I am giving echo command. So echo is a print command actually. So whatever the message you give, that message it will print. Okay. So here I'm asking every time run echo command with just print a hi command, hi message. Okay. So example I'm giving. Generally, what messages will give here means what things will give with CMD or entry point means what application you would like to start. That command you have to give. Okay. Now save this file. So docker build dot. Okay, just can you do docker images? You can see the docker image without file name. without name. See the first one. Because I haven't given any name. You can give now also. Docker tag. So while creation I can give name, or else after creation also I can give. Docker tag your account ID slash your image name, and after tag use your image ID. Which image you want to create? Image ID you have to take. Get it from the above command, above output. Image ID, because we don't have name, right? Yeah, copy the image ID. Docker tag space image ID, then your image name. You haven't given, you have to give space after tag. Enter. So guys, the naming I can give while creation and after creation also. So I showed you first way already, right? See, now I got a name. Now run a container with that Docker run. Don't give -d, just give it. It -it, run that -it. Docker run -it. Yeah. Space your image ID. Enter image name. Enough. Bin bash not required. Enter. See, so it's running in detached mode. Sorry, attached mode. That's the reason the print message. Even if you run in with -d also, it will show that. But in the backend, it will run. The CMD prompt triggered now. So the same way, entry point also same. It works in the same way. But what is the difference between entry point? Can you just use up arrow? In runtime, I can change it. Echo space hello. Give same command. No, don't change anything. Space echo space hello. Enter. See, actually, which message it has to print, guys? The CMD prompt message is that echo command, echo hi, it should print, right? See, what message it printed?
Hello.
So I yes.
So entry
Hello?
point means runtime.
I'm sorry, I didn't get it. Someone initially, I think Susmita, you asked something. What is that?
No. Hello has been printed. That is what I was telling.
Okay. Not created. Echo is the print message. Whatever you give, that message it will print. Yes, that's it. Here example I am showing echo command. So the CMD value can be overwritten at runtime, at container creation time. I don't want to run that CMD prompt for some reason. It doesn't matter what is the reason. Right now it's not required. Let's assume that I created an image with CMD prompt, and somehow for some reason now Sushmita don't want to start her application at runtime. She wants to run some other command for some reason. So I can override that command at runtime. That is what CMD command. See, I overwritten that command. Now in CMD I given hi command. Here I given hello command. So the latest only it's working. Okay, that is what CMD. But whereas with entry point, can you open the Docker file and change it to entry point? CMD into entry point. Save this and create an image. As you changed your like Docker file, you have to recreate the image again. No, it won't work out. You have to recreate the image. No, Docker build. Docker build command you have to run, not this command. This command is once the image is created, to create a name, you will use the Docker tag. Okay. Now go ahead, directly build a container. No need to create name. Already we seen how to create name, right? Docker run. The last one is the image ID. Docker run -it. No, you are using the old name. The image name you are just, yes. Replace your image name with ID. Simple type na, otherwise it's a better thing, right? Remove everything. Why you're using Docker tag? Right away Docker tag is not required. So just to name your, just control C, Docker run -d tag. You can do it like maybe put, we are practice purpose only, right? I already showed how to tag it again and again. Why tagging? So later in real time you can tag it. Docker run -it, then image ID. That entry point also will be triggered now. Enter. See, the same, whatever the entry point you given in Docker file, it's triggered now. Every time when you start your container or when you create your container, that will be triggered. Now just try to overwrite. Try to run the command echo space hello. See, it won't take. That is the usage of difference between entry point and CMD. It's up to you. So which one you want to go with? Okay. So guys, this is the interview question. What is the difference between entry point and CMD? Now did you understand? Hello guys, I'm expecting input from everybody.
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Okay, what is the difference?
Like in
Yeah.
CMD, it will override the message, and over here it will not.
Yeah, not it will. We can, if it is required, we can overwrite. That is not mandatory to overwrite, right?
Okay.
Based on our requirement, if at all it is required, I can overwrite it. It's not mandatory to overwrite every time. Only that is an option. You have that functionality. If at all required, you will use it. Otherwise, no. Okay? Got it now, guys? Now
Yes.
let's see some real-time examples. What kind of Docker file request you will get? Go to Google Docker Hub. Already we seen some files, right? Go to Docker Hub. Even come down. I think here also you should have provided the Docker file. Slowly, 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 slowly. See what he is asking. Okay, some groovy file he want to. I don't know what is that groovy file. He want to copy. Is it copy? Actually, I cannot see your stuff. Content. It's very small. Can you make it little bit big? Yeah, that is the copy module. So he want. So what he is asking? Executors.groovy script. I don't know what is that script. What it will do. If you read the like whole page, you can understand what exactly is doing. What exactly, how exactly it's working. Okay. Now go back to our examples, Docker file examples. Let's see some like 3-4 examples so that you can understand how it would be. So guys, in GitHub you can get hundreds of images. Okay, so open the Docker file, take randomly any Docker file. So here this many application images you have. Yeah, iCode, I don't know what is that also. Just open it. Okay, can you tell me what exactly is doing? Anybody? Savani, can you tell me what they are doing? Savani, are you there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So what they
Yes.
are doing in this Docker file?
First is Ubuntu.
Okay, is taking Ubuntu as a base image.
Yes,
Okay.
Ubuntu.
Mm-hmm.
They have installed
Mm-hmm.
Apache 2.
Exactly. So Apache 2. Maybe let's assume that this request is from
PHP.
Sushmita.
Yeah,
Okay.
Apache
Good, good,
2, PHP, and everything, and they've written unzip.
Okay, good. Installing
Then
also.
this, yes, then this is env. Is it environment, sir?
Exactly. So what is mean by variable?
Yes, yes.
What is mean by variable? I'm asking question. So guys, variable role is very, very important anywhere in Linux. Linux or in Windows, it doesn't matter. In any application, variable concept is very important. It's a common thing. Variable concept. In the name itself, it is stating. So variable means the value can be like varied. That is what variable. So let's assume that I installed Maven. Example, I'm saying. So Maven is one of the build tool, one of the Java tool. If I install, let's assume that I do have one lab. Maybe can I have like can I share my screen? I'll clearly show example what is variable, guys. What kind of variables you will have in your system. So guys, are you able to see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Guys, we do have different types of variables. A variable is nothing but the value can be varied. Okay, so what is the situation? What is the use case here means? Let's assume that I installed Java on top of this machine. Okay, so Java can be installed in multiple ways. Maybe I can install by using RPM package. I can install with a zip file. Different ways. Everybody, so different companies, different admins will use different method. It's your wish. So there is no proper path for Java based on the package you installed, based on the way you installed. The Java path might be different. Path is nothing but where Java is installed. That is nothing but Java path. Java home, that is called as. Okay, so let's assume that in the same machine I installed a Maven application. So Maven is a build tool. To build any Java application, to develop any Java application, I'll use Maven tool. So Maven is dependent on Java. Java application is required. So in the Maven configuration, it will look for the Java home. So here I installed Java and Maven both. Java and Maven both. Okay. So I don't know. Maybe like as I told you, we can install Java in many ways, right? So Java path is not fixed. Different system, different path would be there. Path means where the Java command is available, where the Java application is available, Java like a library or binary is available. That can be different folder in different Linux boxes. It's not a common everywhere. The way you installed, based on that, the Java home is different. Now, Maven is required actually because Maven is dependent on Java application. To run Maven command, you should need Java like path. So, somewhere in the Maven configuration file, okay, so it will look for Java underscore home variable. This I don't know. Somewhere in the Maven configuration file, every application has one configuration file, right? So somewhere in the Maven configuration file, so it will look for the Java underscore home variable. So in your system, you have to set this Java underscore home. You have to set how to set export in Linux box. This is the command, guys. Java underscore home equals to that path where Java, maybe example slash USR slash local. Example, I'm giving the path. This is the command. Okay, maybe so in the notepad I will tell you. Notepad. Export Java underscore home equals to that path where Java is installed, where Java binary is there. Like this. This is example how to set a variable. If you run this in temporary, maybe in command line, if your server is rebooted, this setting will be gone. This variable will be gone. So what you have to do, you have to place this variable under slash etc profile file. So at the end of this file, you have to add this line so that this variable will be permanent at any cost. Even if you reboot and come back also, this Java underscore, whenever whenever I run Maven command, so it looks for Java home path. So it will take this path. That is what variable concept, guys. Very important. This is just an example. What is variable? What is the reason of variable? Again, one more examples also I will tell you. Guys, here you're running commands like pwd, cd, ls, then id, who am I? All these are Linux commands. But when I run this pwd command, what is happening exactly? How it is working? How your kernel understand that pwd should print present working directory information? Actually, all your commands are program files. There is some path. So definitely this command should be available in some folder, this binaries. Okay, whatever these program files would be available in somewhere in your Linux box. It will go to that path and it will read that command file and it will execute that command file. That is what happening in the system. But how your system knows it? There is a like a in so and so folder my pwd's command is available. That program file is available. How your system knows it? Again, there is a variable. Your system like in your system in every Linux box there is a variable called path. Already it's a predefined setting, predefined variable. So in this path, you will give all your folders. In which folder your commands are available. Different folders we do have, right? Slash bin we have, slash sbin we have, slash usr bin we have, slash usrs bin. You'll add all those folders to this path variable. You can give multiple also, like this. Colon one more variable, colon one more variable, colon something. So multiple folders you can give like this. Path is one more variable. So every time, so somewhere in your system configuration, okay, this path variable, so your system, your kernel will look for this variable. By default, it will be there. You no need to create it. So automatically, it will go to this whatever the variable you assign, and each folder it will look for these commands. So first, it will go to the first folder. So do we have that command? If it is not available, it will go to the second folder. It will check for that file. If it is not available, it will go to the third file. If the file is available, it will execute. That is what happening. Again, this is a variable. Now here also, in this situation also, can you now go back to your screen, Sushmita? Open your screen. I made you as a presenter. Open the TNV. So in the Docker image, this is the command. Here he is creating a variable Apache run underscore user. Can you highlight the first variable? Yes. So in terms of Linux, export is the command. But here in image, env is the command. So env Apache underscore run user, that is the variable name. Somewhere in the Apache configuration, it will look for this variable. So I'm giving use this value www-data. That might be the user. So again, Sushmita will give you the variable details. What variables she, like that application may expect, and she should provide that variable details. So in Docker file, I will make it like this. So it seems 3 variables she asked. So I am creating 3 variables with 3 values. Group also she given www data. Again log directory also she given. So I used this directory. This is what variable. Guys, did you understand what is variable? It's a common behavior everywhere. Windows, Linux, Docker, anywhere variable is nothing but it may the value might be varied. Value might be like again like you can give at runtime. Maybe some fixed variable you can assign like that. Okay, that is what variable concept. Now go back to the next expose. So as I told you, what is expose means to expose 80 port to other, so the other containers which are available in the same Docker host, you will use this 80 option, this expose option. So that the 80 port option will be open to the other containers which are available in the same Docker host. That is what expose command. Okay, why I should open to other containers? So as I told you, there would be relation between the other containers, like application with database, database with application, right? So that's the reason expose command is there. Now next, see guys, I told you right, add command. Here is giving one URL. So that URL, what it will do? It will download that folder, download that content into var www icoder zip. So in the image, this right side one is the image folder. In the image, not in the Docker host. Always the destination is Docker host, sorry, Docker container, Docker image, guys. Remember that. Okay, next. Is running some command, is cd to that folder, is unzipping that icoder.zip file. Then after, again is cd to that folder, is moving, is changing the name. Okay, next is changing the ownerships for the folders. Next is creating some folder and changing the ownerships and permissions to those projects. And the final command, what is that command? What it will do, guys? Is running some Apache 2 command. He wants to start Apache command, Apache application. Can you copy this Docker file? Copy that content from, yeah, everything. Open your putty session. Create a Docker file.
Need to exit from this, right?
Your wish. If you don't want to mess up, like corrupt your existing Docker file,
Or
you
else can I remove that and rewrite
yes,
that?
yes, definitely. Here it's for practice purpose only, right? In real time we don't do it, but here you can make it. Just remove it. So nothing is there right here. Sample data only rewritten. You can remove it. Yeah. Okay. Now save this file. Is there any dependencies like copy files and all? Not required, right? So everything is there. Yeah. Go ahead and do it now. WQ. build a container, Docker build. If everything correct, it will build a container now. So something failing back to foreground telling none. So while installing the packages, it's not taking. Error were encountered while processing SSL insert. Can you open the command? Let's see. So update. So what was the error? Show me. Just come out of this file. So while installing only, so you are not able to do it, right? Just come out. So we'll try that. Sub process dpk 0 code. Just denied execution of start. I don't know what is that error. Term is not set. So the dialog front end is not usable. Failing back to front end. Can you copy that line? And term is not set, so the dialog front end is not usable. Just copy that line. We'll try that error. So can you scroll up? We'll see any other errors before. Just scroll up your screen. Scroll up, scroll up, scroll up. Moving all data, that's fine. Okay, nothing. Previously, no errors. Only that was error. Just copy that data, copy that error. We'll see that. What is that error? Invoke rc.d. Can you copy that invoke -rc.d? The first red color line. First one. Invoke -rc.d. Yes, copy that. We'll see that error. We'll try. Just go back to Google. Open that. Increase your font. Come down. So here also is doing Apache only. It seems after the for the same. Hello.
Hello?
Hello guys, are you
Yes,
able to hear me?
yeah.
Sir.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I lost my audio. Now it seems, can you copy that first command, run printf? We'll try that. Add that into your Docker file. So it's saying should resolve your issue. Just copy that line. Add it into your Docker file. I don't know whether it will resolve or not. So yeah, maybe in the third line. Third line, yeah. No, before that install, because our step is failing in third line, right? You have to make it before the line. Yeah. So after this line, try it. Hmm. Save this and let's see. Hmm. Again, but here that so could not reliably determine the service fully qualified determinant the server name
Amar,
and unable to initialize. Yes,
Amar,
yes, tell me.
can we disable the yeah, can we disable the SE Linux if possible on the EC2 instance? I think that's due to SE Linux problem.
Okay, let's try that. So can you disable SE Linux in your Linux box? So can you do get enforce first? Get enforce. So get enforce will show you what is the status of your SE Linux. Okay, it's enforcing. Can you make it disable it? Set enforce space 0. Guys, what is SE Linux means? It is one of the file level security tool in Linux box. So most of the applications won't support this SE Linux. Okay, you did it in command line. It will come back again. So there is a file for that. Can you do it? VA space /etc /sysconfig/se linux. Just press S and double tap. It will fulfill. Yeah, SE Linux. Enter. Here there is SE Linux enforcing is there, right? You have to disable it. SE Linux equals to disabled. Below, 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 below. Yeah. Remove that enforcing and make it disabled. Above line. Insert mode. Remove that enforcing and make it disabled. So that even after reboot also it will be disabled only. It won't come up. Disabled. Spelling wrong. Yeah. Now enter, save it. So to make it permanently, you have to do it like that. To make it temporarily, you have to do it in command line. Set enforce 0. Permissive means it's not completely disabled, but at least permissible. That is what. Okay, now try it. So docker build dot. Yeah, I think it's working now. But still one more error. Running end of central directory. Signature not found. Either this file is not a zip file or it constitutes one disk, multiple disks. So multiple. In the later case, the central direction you cannot find zip file directory in one of or you cannot find zip file. So good to find out. Okay, can you do one thing? Can you just do wget space that URL, whatever the URL from where it is downloading. Let's see, maybe that URL might be available or not now, because this Docker file created long back, right? Maybe that URL is available or not. I don't know now. Just copy that URL. That add command URL is there, right? Yes. Let's see. So it's trying to download. It's downloaded also, but I don't know whether that zip file is available or only that URL, not the destination. Only the middle URL మాత్రమే. అగైన్ యాడ్ కూడా అవసరం లేదు, మీరు యాడ్ కూడా కాపీ చేస్తున్నారు. ఓన్లీ URL. యాడ్ డాకర్ కమాండ్ కదా మనకు, అది దాంతో ఏం పని. జస్ట్ సర్చింగ్ గైస్ whether you are getting that zip file or not. Yeah, so install wget first. Yum install wget. Yes. Okay, now up arrow. Okay, do download ls. See, zip file is not downloading here. So actually, I don't know, somehow like he did that zip file, but there is no. Okay, so let's see that. Let's do one thing. Can you open in browser? We'll see that. So whether we do have any zip file or not. Go to browser and run that. Run that URL. Browser lo URL kada open ayyedi. File lo open avadu. Same URL which you used wget. That URL. Let's see what is there in that URL. Here the problem is it's trying to download a zip file as per the Docker file and unzipping it, but somehow you are unable to download that zip file. It's maybe it may not be the download zip file, and you are trying to unzip the file which is not unzip zip format. So that's the reason you are getting issue. So what is saying? I'm unable to see that what is that error. So Sushmita, what is saying? What is the error? Still I'm unable
User
to see that.
downloads user downloads IC coder zipped archive is either in unknown format or damaged.
Maybe something happened. I think like whoever created the Docker file at that time it may work, but now or else maybe some prerequisite before downloading else he has to do something. So we don't know that what he did exactly. So it's unable to download that zip file. So definitely it won't work. You have to research then. What is the file I have to download? Even that application also I don't know what application. Anybody knows that? What is that iCode one? So you may have different applications, right? So even I don't know what is this application. You have to research how to set up that iCoder and all. Then you have to follow like based on the steps. Now let's go with another Docker file. Maybe again like for research and development here we cannot do that. Go back to another file. We are only concerned about Docker file, not about the Linux command. I mean the procedure, right? It doesn't matter. Go with another Docker file. We'll see one more Docker file. Your wish. So see some script file also available in the same directory. Come down. Yeah. Can someone explain what is doing? Guys? It's a very simple. It's taking a base image Ubuntu. Can you copy this? Even the last line also. Do it in the same Docker file. Guys, in real time, we don't do everything in a single Docker file. We'll make it different Docker files. Here, just practice purpose only, right? Just DD, 10 DD. We'll delete all the lines. 10 DD. You have to use shortcut, guys. Insert. And there is a dependency here that you are copying mysql-setup.sh file, right? So again, you should have that file in your Docker host. Run that last command also. CMD command you missed. Now save this file and copy that mysql-setup.sh file also. Otherwise, it will fail. VI save it. First save it. Save that file. Come out. VI that file name. Whatever the file he wants to add, because that should be available. Now you are not giving URL, only the file name. Again you are copying. Why you are copying the destination also? Only the source file name I need, right? Even the dot slash also not required. Direct the file name I want to copy. You copied even dot slash also. Why that is required? That is not required. Again you just press enter without file name. Just come out, colon q. Yeah, VI space that file name. Copy only the file name. MySQL. Even don't copy dot slash. That is not a file name. Best practice is copy paste only, not typing. You should not do like that anytime. Anywhere, guys, remember, if you are copying something, mean if you want to type it, don't type it. Just copy paste. MySQL hyphen setup. Even the full hyphen, that is also name only. hyphen setup.sh. అదంతా నేమ్ డాట్ స్లాష్ కాదు నేమ్. ఆ మై ఎస్క్యూఎల్ ఐఫన్ సెటప్ డాట్ ఎస్హెచ్ ఉందా అదంతా ఫైల్ నేమ్. అక్కడి వరకు. ఎస్, నా కాపీ ఇది పేస్ట్. Now this data I'll get it from there itself. Come out, enter. Now go back to that place, Docker file again. Come out one directory. No, not here, not here. Be here only in Docker file. I mean in your GitHub. Come out of this directory. ఒక డైరెక్టరీ బయటికి రండి. Click no, MySQL server. Yes, here you have that file. Open that file, copy the content and paste it in your file. Something I don't know, it's related to, copy everything, the first line from the first line. I don't know what is this, something related to MySQL. Okay, MySQL database and all, it doesn't matter. So paste it in insert. You're not inserting first. Please press insert, then after just do come out, escape, colon q, exclamatory mark. Open it one more time. Now press insert. Now paste it. Yeah, now save this file. Now run docker build dot. So you are building a MySQL image now. Okay, your image is created, but with some warnings. Obviously, whatever the Docker file you are using, whatever the packages you are using there were older versions. The Docker file is older one only, you copied as it is. Always the document is for reference purpose. Now based on the errors, you have to resolve one by one what version you have to use. So is the package name correct, or is the command correct? You have to rectify those commands one by one. Then the Docker image will be created without any error. Okay, so how can I know that which package I have to install, which command I have to use? Now Sushmita, let's assume that Shravani is from database team. She will give you the instructions. I need so and so application, I need so and so configuration, I need so and so script. So she will give the script to you. That script you have to copy it into your image and you have to execute it. Finally you will get an image. This is how a Docker image will be created, and I'll provide this image. Maybe I'll create a container for Shravani and give it to her, and I'll tell her about my Docker file also. She will keep it in some space wherever it is required, and she can build her container at later point of time if at all required. Okay, if she wants to do any configuration changes into image, she won't do directly into the container. She will do in the Docker file, and she'll rebuild the image again. She will delete the old container. She will build a new container with the new changes. So that is how it works. Do you want to go with one more container, one more Docker file? What is the time now? 5:30. So make it fast. Go back to. We'll see one more Docker file. Go to your examples. So guys, you have n number of examples. Okay, so go through each and every Docker file, what exactly is doing, what new parameters you may get. Again, based on the requirement, the Docker file parameters also will be changed, right? So you may get new parameters, but most probably whatever the parameters are given, those are enough. So MongoDB, we'll see that. What is MongoDB Docker file? You want to go with Apache? Your wish. Good. Anything is fine. So we'll see what is there. So someone Ubuntu image is checking. So he wants to run some. I think yesterday we have seen this already. MongoDB, right? He wants to download something. He wants to install MongoDB. Then then after CMD prompt. Nothing new here. Go back. So open one more. Yeah, here also nothing new. Just Apache 2. I'm talking about the parameters, guys. Not right parameters. The red color things I'm referring. Because that is our concern now, right? Okay, next. So this is also common, nothing new. Go back, we'll see any other nothing new stuff. These the customer will give, the developer will give, the application team will give. So do this, do this. Anything new? Again, here also nothing new. All are run commands only. Right? So he's exposing 4505, 4506 ports to the other containers which are in the same network. So different application, different instructions, different Docker files. So try to build them, try to resolve the issues if at all you get some issues. Then you can understand what exactly they are doing. Okay, these instructions your application team will give you. Then after you'll create a Docker files, and finally you'll provide these Docker files to your MS team, your application team. So backup these for backup purpose, or else to recreate your environment again and again, and so whenever it is required. Okay, so that is what again like about Docker files, guys. and it's enough for today. And we'll make it again
Amar,
next class on Monday. Yes.
What's the
Amar,
next tool, sir?
actually,
Sorry.
Yes. Tell me.
Actually, you were talking about WinSCP. So in the last session, we didn't do the practical, hands-on practical on WinSCP. It was just that you mentioned that WinSCP is used to copy files from Docker host to Docker container or vice versa and this kind of stuff. But it was not hands-on. We didn't do it practically.
That's fine. It's not a big deal. So we can make it in Monday class. Okay. It's a general
Okay.
tool. It's not related to Docker. It's not related to any tool. It's a general Windows application.
Yeah.
So with the help of that, you can copy the files from any Linux box to Windows, Windows box to Linux. Okay. We'll see it in
Yeah.
next class, Monday class.
Sir,
So tomorrow
Monday,
no
what
class.
topic do we have?
Kubernetes.
I mean, what do you require for that?
I
I
need
mean, the setup.
I need 3 CentOS machines, 3 CentOS 7 servers.
T2 micro.
No, 1 T2 medium, 2 T2 micro.
Okay, you need 3 CentOS, 1 T2 medium, and 2 micro.
Yes, exactly. And one more thing, guys, I want to say. So Monday onwards, 7 a.m. IST, I'm starting AWS. If anyone wants to join, you can join. Anybody is interested? Because guys, why I'm asking these things means, like some guys are requesting me that they want to make the tools, maybe some repeat, some tools to repeat, or some maybe they want to make it early. That's the reason I'm asking you guys. It's completely your wish. So 4 p.m. batch will be there. It's continuous batch. Okay. So apart from that, if you want to go with any other batch, like I do have 7 a.m., 8 a.m. and 9:45 p.m. IST batches. Okay. So 7 a.m. IST, I'm going to start AWS. So who is interested? If anybody is interested, please let me know, or else ping me in the group chat also. That is also fine. Okay. So it's up to you.
AWS
But
related to DevOps, sir.
yes, the basic stuff, whatever we need for DevOps.
Okay, the starting classes, you mean?
Anything. It's related to DevOps only. There is no dependency with other tools. Okay. But the
Okay.
basic things what we really use in general real time.
Okay.
Okay. So guys, don't, like, it's up to you. It's not mandatory class. The 7 a.m. or 8 a.m. class, the other batches I'm telling, right? It's completely your wish. If you want to join, you can join. Who wants to repeat that AWS, or who wants to maybe have early, who wants to have this class? It's up to you. So there is no compulsion. Okay, your wish. So please ping
So
me if
Amar,
at
we
all.
are
Yes,
sorry. So we are done with the Docker class, right?
yes, you're right.
So that's the wrapping up section for Docker.
Yes. So now I'm 4
Okay.
p.m. batch will be continuation batch, guys. I'm talking about the other batches. Okay, so whoever is interested for AWS, even in the same way, I'll tell for whenever a new tool started for 8 a.m. and 9:45 also, I will tell you can join there as well. It's up to you. So if you really have intention, maybe dedication, definitely you can join, guys. I don't have any issues. It's up to you. Okay?
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
When you start a new tool, please ping in the group so that whoever interested would join.
Yes, 7 a.m. AWS is going to start from Monday. If at all you interested, please ping me. Yeah,
What about
I'll
8
ping you
a.m.
in
and
group also.
9:45?
So somewhere 8 a.m. Kubernetes, going to be end 1 or 2 days. Then 9:40 p.m. Jenkins is going to be end. So
Okay.
maybe in 1 or 2 days. Again, there also new tools will be started in 1-2 days max, maximum 3 days. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, sir.
Do
Okay,
let us
guys.
know about 8 p.m., 8 a.m. and 9:45.
Sure,
Amar.
definitely, guys. It's up to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay then,
No,
guys.
I will
Thank
do
you.
that 7. Thanks.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much, guys. Bye.
Thank you, sir. Bye.
Yeah.